Hey folks, my name's Chris Wessel. Today we're going to be tying a bomber, but we're going to be tying it really small. This is great for low water conditions for Atlantic salmon and is also extremely effective for our brook trout here. So without further ado, let's get on into it. So here we go with the tiny bomber. Today we chose a number 12 hook. Just to give you an idea, we're working with a small hook. To be honest, I actually don't know what model hook this is. I don't use small hooks very often, so I just kind of grabbed it out of a mixed bag, I guess to say. So I've already pre-stacked the calf tail for this, just because you guys have seen me do it before many times. And it gets kind of loud on video. These tiny bombers isn't just a novelty. Believe it or not, they work actually really well in especially in low water conditions, and trout love them. Salmon also, always fun when you have a 5-6 pound salmon on these small hooks. I haven't had a lot of experience tying small flies. I don't tie a lot of trout flies, so see how this goes. I had an evening last year on the Torrent River on the northern peninsula of Newfoundland, and there was fish everywhere. The water was extremely low. Threw just about everything I had at them, and I seen one of these little guys in my fly case, and I don't typically fish a lot of these previous to this year, and it made all the difference in the world. I can promise you now, this isn't going to look as good as a normal size bomber that I would tie. We're going to use caribou today, and that's just because, well, I actually really like working with caribou, but we're working with a smaller area and stiffer whitetail fibers. It could probably be a little bit hard to work with on this size bomber, so we really kind of wanted to go with a soft fur on this. Doesn't take long to fill up the body, that's for sure. I'm compressing that a bit, but it doesn't quite work the same as it does with the larger bombers. So in the past, if I was tying a dry fly this small, especially like a deer body dry fly, usually I would just go ahead and just tie a bug, and a bug versus a bomber is basically, a bug is a bomber but without the front wing. And I guess I was always of the belief that if you're going to fish that small, really do you need to have something with that front wing on it? The answer to that is sometimes it is actually helpful to have that, because I find when this fly drags along the surface on a swing, if you aren't just dead drifting, then that front wing kind of pushes water a little bit and helps this knot to go subsurface on you. You'll find if you're fishing a bug, especially if it has a little bit of a skinnier body, that on a swing they will go subsurface. And if that's not your intention, then this pattern actually may be, not pattern, the size of a bomber may be something that you would be interested in. Alright, so we're going to get this tied off and snip so we can start trimming. And I'm just going to slip my tape back over that hook eye, give it a bit of a fluff. I'm just going to do a general trim here just to figure out what we're working with and where we need to be. Using my TMCO curved scissors, they're the finest point scissors I think I have. So, and usually when I'm trimming deer hair, that's what I'm using. Wow, that's a small area to work. Alright, so we're going to come in behind, just kind of trim up some of that stuff, because you really can't finish this fly off until you have everything in the front and back trimmed off. Normally I would kind of tilt my vise over towards the camera, but I can't do it because I'll lose focus, so it's a little bit awkward, but not too bad. Alright, so we can just kind of trim this down a little bit, clean it up. I don't want to get too crazy here and make it too skinny, because there really isn't a lot of fur on this body, so you want to leave a bit there. Alright, let's get rid of this tape. Already seen a couple spots I need to clean up a bit. Trying not to be as anal about the trimming on this, but it's hard not to. There is going to be some pieces hanging out. It's the nature of, I find with working with the caribou that I have as well, because a lot of fibers do get trapped when I'm spinning. Alright, wowzers. Alright, so far so good. So we're gonna, I didn't mention earlier, but I am using the UTC 70. Normally I would use a larger thread, the UTC 140, but again, we're working with such a small fly here, you're going to try to save yourself from bulking up anywhere you can. And I'm just going to come over top of that wing, in between the wing and the hook, over top of the wing on this side, in between the wing and the hook, come around, and that'll just prop my front wing up a bit. And a couple turns. And today we're going to be using a Metz hackle, and you really don't need any long stuff, which is it looks like that's what I chose here. Oof. I actually have the saddle here, so I can pick out something a bit smaller, I think. It's amazing, when I'm usually tying bombers, we're looking for the biggest hackles we can find. Maybe now I have a use for all those smaller ones. Sorry guys. There we go. Alright. Should have known. There's usually a side on a saddle that you'll find the smaller ones. It's usually the side that I'm not looking at. So we're just tying in the stem of that saddle feather. Here we go. It's amazing that this hackle still seems a little bit long. It'll fish well though, so I'm not too concerned. I'm just following that feather through, and we're just going to wiggle on our way back, and that's just going to get that thread down in between the hackle and the deer hair. Caribou. It's not the prettiest, guys, but this is a very small bomber, and it's not something I would typically tie, but I'll tell you what, it's something that I think anybody fishing for brook trout and Atlantic salmon should really consider throwing in their fly box, especially if you're the kind of angler that's out during the times of year when we have low warm water. So thank you all very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please feel free to do so. It definitely helps me out. If that's not your thing, that's totally cool too. Just appreciate having you by to watch. And until next time, take care.